Hello dear people, I am Dr. Ostarso. Today we are going to talk about the Russian threat over Sweden. The Russian ambassador in Stockholm said that if Finland and Sweden join NATO, they will be new targets of Russia. According to Ambassador Viktor Tatarintsev, if Finland and Sweden were to join NATO, the borders between Russia and NATO would nearly double. He also warned that this move wouldn't enhance European security. According to him, the new members of the hostile bloc could become legitimate targets for Russian retaliation, including military action. Swedish Foreign Ministry has announced that they are summoning the Russian ambassador in response to his threats. The ministry has labeled the ambassador's comments as attempt at interference. The Swedish Foreign Minister Tobias Billström has stated that his ministry is summoning the Russian ambassador in order to make a statement against what he perceives to be a blatant attempt at interference. Swedish officials remain optimistic in joining NATO before the upcoming summit in July in Lithuania. However, according to the Russian ambassador in Stockholm, who was born in present-day Ukraine's Kherson, Sweden is taking a step into the abyss by pursuing membership in NATO. The ambassador has criticized the decision of Sweden to pursue NATO membership process without holding a national referendum. He claimed that NATO command had decided to fully engage in the conflict, which would create risk for Sweden. He also expressed concern that Sweden would become involved and potentially sacrifice their lives for the interest of others. Since submitting bids to join NATO after the outbreak of war in Ukraine last year, the Nordic countries have faced repeated threats from Russia. Despite their close alliance with NATO for more than 20 years, neither country was a formal member of the military alliance, and the majority of the public was against joining. In a statement last year, Russian President Putin distinguished between Finland and Sweden's potential membership in NATO and that of Ukraine. He stated that Moscow has no any territorial conflict with the Scandinavian countries. Nevertheless, if Helsinki and Stockholm were to permit NATO's troops and armaments to be stationed in their countries, the situation could worsen and prompt Moscow to take necessary countermeasures. In his statement, Putin emphasized that Ukraine was developing an anti-Russian sentiment, resulting in the persecution of those who identified with the Russian world. He also suggested that NATO, led by the United States, was seeking a common enemy to unite all allies. But Iran was not accepted suitable for this role, while Russia potentially could be. This contrasted with Finland and Sweden, who were not perceived as hostile from the view of Russia. Sweden's potential membership in NATO remains uncertain as Turkey is currently opposing its entry, while Hungary's delay in ratification has also caused some uncertainty. Both countries are thought to be using their delays in ratification as a bargaining tool to obtain political concessions from Stockholm and from the EU. Additionally, Turkey is seeking to leverage its position to gain better access to military programs from the US. Despite months of hesitation by Viktor Orban's ruling party, the Hungarian parliament passed a bill allowing Finland to join NATO. However, Sweden's bill remains unresolved and hasn't been ratified by this country. According to the Hungarian government spokesman Zoltán Kovács, there are numerous issues that need to be resolved before Sweden's admission can be ratified. He also noted that Swedish officials have repeatedly criticized Hungary through diplomatic channels, using their political influence to harm Hungarian interests. This approach has largely been related to the government's alleged erosion of the rule of law over the past 13 years, which Orban denies.
Values.
Despite being close allies with NATO for many years, both Sweden and Finland had been hesitant to formally join the alliance due to the political opposition until the Russian invasion occurred in Ukraine. Despite initial opposition, recent polls suggest that a majority of Finns and Swedes now support joining NATO due to the conflict in Ukraine. Since announcing their intention to join NATO, both Sweden and Finland have been repeatedly warned by Russia. This is because of their shared 1,300-kilometer border. According to NATO rules, a country can only become a full member once all 30 member countries have ratified their application. The air commanders of Sweden, Finland, Norway and Denmark announced that they will create a joint air defense system. According to the statement by Denmark's Air Force, the goal is to develop a Nordic concept for joint air operations based on existing NATO methodology, enabling the 4 countries to operate as a single force. The formation of a unified Nordic air defense by Sweden, Norway, Finland and Denmark is expected to be a concern for Russia given the significant number of advanced fighter jets in the joint air force. All 3 countries have committed to using F-35 jets, which are among the most advanced fighter planes in the West. Norway currently operates some of these jets, while Finland and Denmark are scheduled to receive them in the near future. Commander of the Danish Air Force, Major General Jan Dam, stated that the unified Nordic air defense combined fleet could be compared to that of a large European country. He further mentioned that the move was a response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, which had also prompted Sweden and Finland to seek their entry into NATO. Denmark and Norway are already members of this organization. So this is time to share your opinions. Don't forget to leave your comments about this issue.